Hello, and welcome to another segment of Preppers and Patriots Podcast. President Donald Trump declared today, September 3rd, 2017, a National Day of Prayer. He publicly called the nation to prayer for the victims of Hurricane Harvey. In May of 2017, President Trump upheld an observance in the Rose Garden at the White House of the National Day of Prayer. A quote by the Huffington Post from May 4th reads, quote, Congress passed a joint resolution in 1952 to establish the National Day of Prayer, and President Harry S. Truman signed it into law that year. Every president since then has signed a National Day of Prayer proclamation, and most, excluding President Barack Obama, have also held observances at the White House to honor the day. End quote. As an American citizen, Christian, and patriot, I for one am glad to see our president carry on this long-observed tradition. Atheist organizations often refer to the concept of the separation of church and state to bolster their position that the church should stay out of the political arena, when in fact it was intended to mean the exact opposite. The term separation of church and state originated from a letter written in January of 1802 by Thomas Jefferson to the Danbury Baptist Association in Connecticut. In that letter, Jefferson used the term separation of church and state to paraphrase his interpretation of the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, which reads, quote, Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, end quote. In that letter, Jefferson writes, quote, I contemplate with sovereign reverence the act of the whole American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. End quote. That quote from Jefferson's letter echoes the language of the writings of Roger Williams, the founder of the First Baptist Church in America in the year 1644. With this, we see that the intent of our forefathers' concept of separation of church and state was intended from the start to keep the government out of the affairs of the church, not the other way around. The formation of the government of America, this Christian nation, was deeply and heavily influenced by the church. The separatists, or pilgrims as they're commonly known, fled England and the tyranny of King George to establish a new nation, a nation founded on and committed to the principles and influences of the Holy Bible. In recent years, starting in the early 1960s, we as a nation have begun to turn our back on those principles and influences. We as a nation are now turning our back on God. In the past presidential cycle, I could not see a candidate that I believed possessed of the moral character or social and political qualification to lead this nation as our president. It was at that time my personal choice to abstain from voting. I know it's my right to vote, but I also believe that it is my responsibility to vote for someone who I believe in my heart could be what I believe that the President of the United States must be. I did not see that candidate at all at the polls this past cycle. Donald Trump is not, by any stretch of possibility, a perfect man. When he reinstituted the National Day of Prayer in May of this year, and again today for the Hurricane Harvey victims, he has shown me that he has a vision for the direction of this nation. In spite of his many faults, I believe he truly has the best interest of this nation at heart. In spite of his many faults, he's always had my respect. The respect that the man and the office deserve from every single American, regardless of our individual political views. He is my president, and he's your president too, if you continue to call yourself an American. His decision to uphold the long-standing tradition of calling this nation to prayer is, in my opinion, the most important step in making America great again. Thank you all for listening. God bless you.